What's up, y'all? We're gonna recap this Southern Jackson State game real quick. Man, what a game! Didn't turn out like I know most people predicted. I know the odds makers really said this was gonna be a 1.5 point game, and most people who I saw do any predictions on YouTube or otherwise predicted a 7 point or less victory for either side. I predicted a Southern victory 31-27. Man, this game did not turn out like anybody thought. Now I will say that it ended in a way that I thought that it would, because I figured if Southern had any kind of a lead that they would be able to run the football and run the game out that way. But I did not expect or think that Southern would be able to control the ball for 42 minutes, run for almost 300 yards, run the ball 59 times. Jackson State only ran the ball for 66 yards. Jalen Jones was able to hit one big pass play to Dalen Baldwin, who made a tremendous hell of a catch one-handed in the middle of the field and beat the defense to the end zone. But this game was all Southern, even with two interceptions by Southern on basically Ladarius Skelton-like passes. You can count on him to make passes like that from time to time. And this was one of those times, but those two interceptions didn't even factor into the game at all. John Lampley came in and played a solid game. He looked a lot more comfortable in the pocket than he did against Pine Bluff. He threw a touchdown. He even ran the ball a couple times to pick up positive yardage, made a couple plays to turn sacks into getting back to the line of scrimmage. Jackson State just never really did anything that they did in recent weeks. You didn't see a lot of running from Jalen Jones, maybe on more of like getting out of the pocket, escaping on pass plays. They didn't run a lot of QB power like everybody thought they would. They did that a lot against Alabama State. Late in the game, they kind of just ran QB power with him. Southern did a good job of totally demolishing the offensive line. Almost any play you saw, Southern had 3 or 4 guys getting in the backfield. Even on that last touchdown that Jackson scored, the defense, it was a race. Jones got the pass off before the defensive lineman got to him, so it was just a bang bang play that led to a touchdown. But Jordan Lewis, Jackson State did not have an answer for him. I was honestly surprised how many times he came off the edge unblocked. A guy like that, you need to double team him. You need your backs to step up and chip the tight end. He got caught one-on-one a couple of times. He was not happy with his tackle about that. A couple of times the running back stepped the wrong way and blew the blocking assignment. Defensively, the line of Jackson State, I saw a lot of people say that line was gonna be, was gonna have to step up, and they didn't. They got pushed around a lot. You saw a lot of red jerseys getting up off the ground after plays. Southern was able to establish the run game early and push them around. And when a team can run the ball 59 times, they're probably gonna win because you're not forcing them out of what they want to do. Southern, almost anything that Southern did, they did it to themselves because they got cute with a couple times where they could have still ran the ball and they decided to throw it. But this game was pretty one-sided. I mean, Jackson State never really was in this game. Southern had an onside kick after their first touchdown. They drove and threw an interception, but they set the tone. And Jackson, for whatever reason, I know Coach Sanders said the team seemed flat, but I don't know if they were flat from the start or if they were flat from getting hit in the mouth early in the game and they just could not respond. This was a telling game for this version of what Jackson State is. Now we know that this would not be their final form, but if you're gonna play a game, then you need to be there for the game. You can't play a game and say, well, this ain't really us. We're gonna be back in the fall. That don't fly. If you're gonna step on the field and Deion Sanders is an NFL Hall of Famer. He's an All-American Florida State defensive back. Hell of a baseball player. He knows that when you step on that field, it don't matter what's going to happen in the future. It's all about what's happening in between them lines right now. So I'm not saying that's how he feels, but that's how a lot of people feel off the field. So if you're going to play, then you have to come to play. If not, then you need to opt out and sit on the sideline because that wait to fall stuff do not fly if you decide that you want to play. So if you're going to play, then you have to play. They wanted to play. They got beat. Plain and simple, this was a man-on-man physical football game. This was Southern football. If This is Southern football the last 3 years under Dawson Odoms. Run the ball. You know, you're probably not going to look that great throwing it, but you don't have to. I was really impressed with Southern's defense. They only got beat like once or twice in the secondary. Those receivers never really gave them a lot of problems. They dropped a few passes as well. Southern was pretty physical with them. The cornerbacks, you know, they put a couple hits on those guys and knocked the ball loose a couple times. But Jackson State just never, they just never had an opportunity to get in their rhythm. They went 3 and out the first time they had the ball. I think they went 3 and out the second time they had the ball. Maybe they picked up one first down, but they just didn't have it. This was a learning experience. I mean, you got to realize this. All hype and BS aside, this is a first time college football head coach, man. He's learning. This is his first time working with his staff. This is first time his staff working with him. This is the first year that these players are working with him. They had a couple games early that they were able to look really good, and that shifted the narrative for some people to what this team is. But this Jackson State is not as bad as they looked yesterday, but they're not as good as they looked against Edward Waters. They're in the middle somewhere, probably closer to what they looked against Grambling and Alabama State. Competitive. A team that's going to be competitive, if they can get the advantage, they got some speed on defense, they got some hitters at linebacker, and they got some guys who can make plays in the secondary. But up front on both sides of the ball, they don't have that physical ability, the dominance to push you around on either side of the line. And Southern just did a really good job of getting in the backfield on defense and keeping them out of the backfield on offense. Jackson State did have 2 sacks, but they never really affected the game enough to get Southern behind the chains. Because even a few times that Southern had some long possessions down in distance, they still were able to pretty much convert. They had like a 3rd down and 19 or something. They threw a screen pass and picked up 20 yards. That's just, those are plays that just cannot happen if you're going to win a football game. And, obviously this was not the Southern Jackson rivalry that everybody expects. Only, I think it was like 22,000 people at the game. Both bands weren't there. Jackson State couldn't perform on the field at halftime. It's the springtime, whatever. But this is still a rivalry, and you have to do your part in this game. So I don't really see how you can be flat, coming out. I think they got flat in the game because it just wasn't going their way. And they're a team Jackson is a team that's been playing on emotion because they're trying to build a culture. And when you're trying to build a culture, sometimes you have to go with other factors other than just being, X's and O's. You need these guys to believe in what you're saying. That's why their slogan is, we believe, I believe, I believe in thee, whatever you want to call it. But that's why they're using that, because they're trying to get these guys to buy in. And Edward Waters and Valley got them guys to buy in. The dub at Grambling, they bought in. But like Coach Sanders said after the Alabama State game, I need you to believe if it's 3rd and 8. I need you to believe if we down 10 points. I need you to believe when times is tough. And right now that they don't have that yet. And that takes time to grow. That kind of stuff, that stuff that leads to winning programs, it takes time to develop. So this is a building process. I wish everybody would just have not really just hyped this team up so much. Then an outcome like this wouldn't even be a big deal, because this would be a team that you'd be like, yo, they learning, man. They're not there yet. They can get there, and they still can get there. And honestly, even coming off of a game like yesterday, this was a non-conference game. They still only 1 game out of first place in the division. They have a game against Alabama A&M on Saturday. If they find a way to win that game, and Alabama A&M beat Alabama State in the Magic City Classic, Jackson could be in the SWAC championship game. So they still have goals to attain. Luckily, this was a non-conference game, but this game was kind of telling. They have to adjust and regroup and get ready for a whole different type of offense coming in on Saturday. So this is what any conference you play in, I don't care what the level of competition is, there's always a hierarchy, and you don't just step in and thrust yourself to the top of it. You have to earn that. And I think they will get there at some point. I'm not sure when they're gonna get there. I'm still not gonna say when the fall gets here that they just gonna automatically do that. But They will get there at some point, but today was just, that first real setback. The Alabama State loss was a loss that you can, pinpoint a couple things that didn't go your way. If this would have happened, you could have won. If we didn't do this, we could have did that. But this game was just a plain and simple old school beatdown. Jackson administered many of these to Southern back in the day, so I know what it's like to be on the other side of that as well. So both teams are gonna continue to grow and learn. Southern's still learning and growing. I mean, they have a coaching staff that's 5 new coaches. They still figure some stuff out. Jackson is gonna learn, man. Y'all just got to get Coach Sanders some time to grow, man. Everybody gave too much too fast on them, and now people are hopping off. You can't hop off, man. If you're gonna ride with them, man, you need to ride with them because you bought in as a fan. I guess you need to stay bought in, So don't jump off now. Don't, because if they win against the Bulldogs, I don't want to see y'all jump back on. So you need to ride with this. If you with them, you need to ride with them the whole way because that's the kind of buy-in that everybody needs in anything they do. So that's it. I was so amped up to start this. I didn't even do my usual spiel. Now y'all like this video, give it a thumbs up. Give my other videos a thumbs up. Subscribe to the YouTube page. Hit that notification bell to get notified that I have new content on the page. Check out my podcast, anchor.fm/Whack Talk. We actually got a new show up today. Shows broadcasted on Sundays and Wednesdays. Facebook.com/Whack Talk, Twitter.com/Whack Talk 76, Instagram.com/Whack Talk. And that's me, Charles Wells. Obviously, I'm the host of this thing. I'm a lifelong SWAC fan. I'm a Jaguar fan, but I do point out flaws in my team. I'm not a homer when it comes to that kind of stuff. So if things go left with Southern, you will see me give them the business just as much as I give anybody else the business. But I love SWAC football, and I do think a great Jackson State is great for the SWAC. So come on, guys, y'all get with this. Let's get this back going and get this thing back to where it needs to be. So until then, we'll see you guys whenever we see you. Later.